Namaskar friends. India holding the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance in response to Pakistan's role in the Pahalgam massacre has drawn attention to the treaty itself and also to the precarious situation of water in Pakistan. In fact, this is Pakistan's worst nightmare. I am Tilak Devasher and you are watching The Great Game Reloaded. The decision to hold the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance was based on the assertion of Prime Minister Modi that blood and water cannot flow together at the same time, made after the 2016 Pakistan-sponsored Uri attack in which 18 Indian soldiers were killed. The Prime Minister, while referring to the Indus Water Treaty, was expressing India's frustration that its generosity over the treaty was being met with Pakistan's continued terrorist attacks on Indian soil. So what is the Indus Waters Treaty? The 1960 Indus Water Treaty had divided the 6 rivers of the Indus basin between India and Pakistan. Of the total water in the Indus system, India got only 20% from the eastern rivers of Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Pakistan got over 80% from the western rivers of Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. However, India could use these western rivers for non-consumptive purposes like irrigation, hydropower and navigation. India also paid $162 million for the construction of dams in Pakistan. Today, almost 85% of hydroelectricity and 95% of water storage in Pakistan is because of the storage built as a consequence of the treaty and Indian money. What does holding the treaty in abeyance really mean? Does it mean that India could store or even divert the Indus waters? Does India have the capacity to do so? At the moment, India has run-of-the-river hydropower plants on the western rivers that do not store massive amounts of water. These would include the 330 megawatt Kishan Ganga and the under construction 850 megawatt Ratle projects that use the force of running water to drive the turbines and generate electricity. These do not impede the flow of the rivers into Pakistan. The combined storage capacity of Indian projects on the western rivers is modest compared to the extensive infrastructure that India has built on the eastern rivers, like the Bhakra Dam on the Satluj, the Pong Dam on the Beas, and the Ranjit Sagar Dam on the Ravi. Now, however, with the treaty being held in abeyance, there is a possibility that India could either modify existing infrastructure or build new storage structures or divert waters of the western rivers. Were India to start managing the flow with its potential infrastructure, Pakistan would feel the impact, especially during the dry season when water availability is already low and when the predictability and timing of flows is important. While this is in the future, India can do 3 things at present. 1. Not share hydrological data of flows. Such data is critical for Pakistan to plan for irrigation, hydropower, drinking water and flood forecasting. 2. Not notify Pakistan about the projects it is building on the western rivers and neither accept visits by Pakistani officials. 3. Flush silt from its dams without prior warning. Flushing is a method that is used to clear sediments from dams by flushing water through the bottom outlets and pushing the sediment downstreams. Indus and its tributaries carry large levels of silt that collect in dams. Sudden flushing of this silt could have significant consequences downstream. The understanding that was reached between the Director Generals of Military Operations of India and Pakistan on 10th May on the cessation of hostilities does not include the Indus Water Treaty that continues to be held in abeyance. One important facet that Pakistan has not been talking about is that India had been pushing for the renegotiation of the Indus Waters Treaty for some time. India's contention is that the treaty should take into account latest engineering techniques and factor in climate change, demographic changes, and the need for renewable energy. In fact, the treaty provides for negotiations for a new treaty, but Pakistan has been stonewalling the matter so far. Pakistan has been shocked by India's bold move, leading to absurd statements from Pakistan leaders, even though they are meant to assuage domestic audiences. Recently, Pakistan People's Party chief Bilawal Bhutto threatened, and I quote, "Either our water will flow through it or their blood will," unquote. While he said this in the context of India, it was also aimed at Pakistan Punjab, that is trying to construct 6 canals on the Indus to irrigate the Cholistan desert. The Director General ISPR claimed, and I quote, "If you stop our water, we will stop your breathing," unquote. In this, he was echoing LET Supremo Hafiz Saeed. This showed how rattled Pakistan has been by India holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. Pakistan knows that India does not have the large infrastructure to stop the waters of the 3 western rivers, but it is still rattled. Why? From being a water-abundant country in 1951, Pakistan today is a water-scarce one and heading towards absolute water scarcity. Population is growing at 2.55% and mismanagement of its water resources are the primary reasons. Some statistics will help to understand the problem. The annual per capita availability of water in Pakistan has declined to under 1,000 cubic meters, making it a water-scarce country. The country is expected to become absolute water scarce, less than 500 cubic meters per capita per annum by 2035 or even earlier. Absolute water scarcity means drought-like conditions in parts of the country. Pakistan has built only 3 major storage facilities: Mangla on the Jhelum, Tarbela on the Indus, and the Chashma Barrage on the Indus, that can store only 10% of the inflow. The world average is 40%. Without adequate storage, about 30 million acre-feet of water in the Indus in the surplus months flows to the sea. To put it in perspective, this is equivalent to more than the entire water of the Chenab River, or twice the existing storage capacity of Pakistan. Just imagine the entire water of the Chenab flowing into the sea because Pakistan does not have storage capacity. The cost of lack of storage capacity had been calculated at approximately $21 billion a few years ago and is today estimated at $29 billion. Then, Pakistan's irrigation is highly inefficient. Only about 36% of water reaches the field from the river. 64% gets wasted in transmission. There are other issues too, like growing salinity and especially the ingress of saline water into the over-pumped freshwater aquifers and the issue of sedimentation. Sedimentation or silting has severely reduced the storage capacity of the storage reservoirs, Tarbela and Mangla. The result? These dams are reaching dead levels by March, reducing water supplies for agriculture in critical months. The UN estimates that water demand in Pakistan is growing at an annual rate of 10%. This demand is projected to rise to 274 million acre-feet by 2025, while total water availability by 2025 is not likely to change from the current approximately 200 million acre-feet. This gap of 74 million acre-feet is almost 2/3 of the entire Indus River's current annual average flow. Where does Pakistan get another Indus River from? Because there isn't another Indus River. Now you can understand why Pakistan is rattled. Even without India holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, Pakistan faces a serious deteriorating water security situation. Simply put, it is running out of water. Disruptions in water flows by India holding the treaty in abeyance would cause a multiplier effect. It would be catastrophic for Pakistan, where irrigated agriculture plays such a dominant part in the economy on which 60% of the population is dependent, and any decrease in crop yields will affect both livelihoods and food security. Let me end this episode with an interesting anecdote, though unrelated to water, from the last days of the British Raj from my book, Pakistan at the Helm. To discuss the partition plan, Lord Mountbatten, the last Governor General, had called a meeting on 2nd June 1947, one representative each from the Congress, the Muslim League, and from the Sikh community. Jinnah asked for more time to consider, but Mountbatten told him firmly, and I quote, "Mr. Jinnah, I do not intend to let you wreck all the work that has gone into this settlement. Since you will not accept it for the Muslim League, I will speak for them myself, unquote. Mountbatten added that the next morning he would announce to all the leaders that Jinnah had given him an assurance with which he was satisfied, and on no account would he allow Jinnah to contradict him. He continued, and I quote, "After this announcement, when I look at you, Mr. Jinnah, you would nod, signifying that whatever I am saying is correct," unquote. At the meeting held the next morning on 3rd June 1947, when Mountbatten looked at him, Jinnah dutifully nodded his head. This raises the interesting question: if the Muslim League or Jinnah had actually accepted the decision of the 3rd June partition plan, the proposal and counter-proposals were made on behalf of the Muslim League by Mountbatten on the basis that he was given the authority to represent and decide on behalf of the party. Whether the Muslim League had given this authority or whether Mountbatten grabbed this initiative remains an untold story. Thank you for watching. See you again soon with another topic and another anecdote. Until then, I am Tilak Devasher. Namaskar and Jai Hind.